Hey folks, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another videos, another paid request, this time for Shawn. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos, topics, reactions, whatever the case may be, reviews, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal. Those links are down below in the info box. And thank you once again, Shawn. And he wanted me to do a commentary on the 1987 film Predator. I watched this on the 4K, which the picture quality is actually fairly good, but I have a pause at the beginning. 3, 2, 1, pressing play. Actually, wait a minute. Play. The 2050 Fox logo. We're playing. Now, I remember seeing this so many times on CBS Fox home video. I remember the logo. I even remember the trailers. That's how much I watched the VHS tape. And I even remember, yeah, the trailers phase out now, and now we're getting to the title credits and stuff. The stars right there. As we're going to see the alien spaceship, Gordon Silver Davis production. So like I said, I watched the VHS tape so many times. I worn out the box that was covering the VHS tape, and I remember the trailers were for Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. It was a teaser done in the style of Poltergeist 2 teaser. We're back. And then there was a trailer for a Robert Downey Jr. film called The Pickup Artist. And I think it was just those two. And this is just one of those films that never got old. Anytime I could rewatch it anytime. Like I said, never get old with it. And again, this 4K does look really good because when it came on Blu-ray, it didn't look that great. It looked, especially the DNR one, where people, they looked like wax figures. It was just a shame that this film never got a good release on Blu-ray, and the only way it got a good aesthetic visual release was the 4K. Because if you don't have a 4K, then you're kind of screwed. But anyway. Of course, we have the introduction to our commando team. We're a rescue team, not assassins. And with our Carl Weathers sitting there, waiting for Dutch. We have the great music by Alan Silvestri, who had done Back to the Future, among other stuff, but this is probably my favorite score by Alan Silvestri, and here we get the first look of Jesse Ventura, Sonny Landham, Bill Duke there. We got Shane Black, who want to direct that piece of crap, The Predator, and there's Arnold Schwarzenegger, of course, with his favorite, The Stody. Now, I guarantee you this film was done because of the success of Aliens. I'm sure Arnold said yes to it because he saw his buddy James Cameron had this film like Aliens, big success in the summer, crowd pleaser. He's like, man, I need to do a movie like that. So imagine this, where you have a group, kind of like the Dirty Dozen or such type of group, and part of an ensemble team. For I understand that's one of Arnold's appeal of doing this as well, is having it be an ensemble team. And then the first chapter of the film, you think it's an Arnold film. They take out this whole compound of bad guys, and then it becomes a sci-fi horror film. And that was great. It was great to see Arnold in that genre. I mean, it would have been great to see Sylvester Stallone, Jean-Claude Van Damme, these other guys do it. Chuck Norris did it a few times. Silent Rage, Hellbound, a little bit with Hero on the Terror. I mean, it's a serial killer movie, but still a bit, not sci-fi, but thriller. But, Silent Rage and Hellbound. But any of them had the big budget crazy action appeal compared to Predator. And this film, because some fool said you were the best. Dylan, you son of a bitch. There you go. Never knew when to quit. What's this fucking tie business? Oh, forget about my tie. Of course, I mean, we have that machismo, back and forth, test of strength, and as Arnold says later, you never knew when to give up. Even though Arnold's overpowered him, he wouldn't give up. And Carl Weathers, I mean, this is well after Rocky. His character got killed in Rocky 4. And Carl Weathers is one of those guys that deserved to be a bigger star. I mean, he had a lead role in Action Jackson, I believe, after this. Sadly, that did not become a franchise. And he really didn't get a lot of big parts, especially in the 90s. I mean, he was, in a couple Hulk Hogan films as kind of his sidekick. Shadow something. Shadow Warriors or something, whatever the hell it was called. Or Assault on Death Island, whatever the fuck it was called. Of course, later he'd be on the Mandalorian show. Confusing, he was never in the Expendables. You'd think he would be like the Terry Crews role, that you'd have Carl Weathers there, but no. But he's one of those guys that just deserved to have a much bigger career, much more successful career. You know, they get the parts that Wesley Snipes got, or even Denzel Washington, Idris Elba, like all these other actors did get. Just a pretty big shame. Because Jesse Ventura about to say some dialogue that you can't get away with today. Where the runs with Maggot. Jesse Ventura, who'd have thought he'd be the governor of Minnesota. Arnold became the governor of California. Of course, you have the Long Tall Sally, which they brought back for, Predators? At the end of Predators, they brought back the Long Tall Sally music. Just nostalgia. Remember this? God, it's just crazy just how good this film looks. Just keep getting better and better. And Arnold, I mean, he was riding success of the Terminator, Commando, and he had Raw Deal, which didn't do much. That was kind of a commitment he had to do for Dino De Laurentiis to get out of his contract. I mean, this year he had Predator in the summer, he had The Running Man in the fall, which sadly The Running Man didn't do well, but this did. Red Heat, didn't do the best business afterward, but then you had Kindergarten Cop, Twins. Twins was successful in 88. Kindergarten Cop was successful in 90. You had, of course, Total Recall, The Terminator 2. Jesse Ventura, of course, would also be in Arnold's The Running Man in the same year, which I love. The Running Man, that's an absolute classic. Stitches up your sore ass, Blaine. Bill Duke there, shaven. Which that shaven bit will come back later. Bill Duke, I mean, he was in Commando with Arnold. He is such a great group of kick-ass actors that just have all this badass persona that even with little words they say a lot. Well, I did Bill Duke with the little shaven bit, Jesse Ventura there, his Cotti Bravado, Sonny Landham. You just buy them as this unit. You buy them in sync with each other as these tough badasses that this team could take on anybody. You show how they just completely wreck that bad guy compound. And then the fact that you take out one by one just shows how dangerous this predator really is. Now it's funny, if you watch the trailer of the film, these helicopters are coming in daylight. I mean, yeah, if you watch the teaser or the trailer, I can't remember which one. It's the teaser or the trailer. One of those. The helicopter's coming in and it's daytime. So obviously they shot this during the day, and then with, I don't know, how they did with the camera, the filters, whatever, they day for night type of thing. I mean, that's really what this is, shooting a day for night. They probably felt that it's much safer shooting it during the daytime, which makes sense. So you see how bright the sky is. If it was nighttime, the sky wouldn't be that bright. So, yeah, even a major studio film like this can do a day for night shot. But I mean, it works. It still works, funny enough. And the thing is, this film is a slow build, but it works because, again, you have all the elements put together. John McTiernan made a very tightly paced movie. Of course, it's the same guy that right after would do Die Hard, and what a double punch. Predator and Die Hard. Those two films alone kind of put you in the pantheon of action directors. He also did The Hunt for Red October. He did Last Action Hero, which I enjoy. Die with a Vengeance, very fun sequel. I like Basic. I think that was the last film he did. I mean, I don't love everything film he did. The 13th Warrior, I'm not a fan of. Medicine Man, I could not get into. That was pretty boring. Rollerball remake is his worst film. To the point I can't believe he directed that. I'm like, did he really direct that film? Nothing about it screams John McTiernan. That Rollerball remake. Here we find the down chopper. Trying to figure out what the hell happened here. I'm trying to remember. I mean, for how many times I watch this, I should remember if the Predator shot this down or if the Guerrillas shot this chopper down. Because I know the Guerrillas came in and they took some of these guys. Or the Guerrillas came in and stole all the shit that was in there and then left. The Heat Seeker. Heat Seeker Dylan. Just a country boys. And here we got our tracker, Sonny Landham, which I've heard that I guess they had bodyguards on him, but not to protect him, but to protect other people from him. So I guess Sonny Landham was a pretty dangerous guy. Sonny Landham, at this point, he was one of the main bad guys in 48 Hours. He would pop up from time to time in a movie here or there. Lockup, Sylvester Stallone film Lockup, he had a big prominent role as the inmate that was the most dangerous to Stallone's character. Which I think Stallone was ready to drop the weights on, but he didn't. Because he knew that's what the warden wanted, was from the murder, to kill this guy, but I'm not going to give you the satisfaction. And that's the thing, each of these guys like have the little moments to the shine, like Shane Black talking with Sonny Landham, trying to get him to laugh. Jesse Ventura and Bill Duke's friendship with each other. Carl Weathers being the odd man out, even though he has a history with the Arnold's character. Like I said, each one has the little bits. You have the Jesse Ventura being cocky, got the minigun, and then you have this tractor here who is the first to sense the danger to the group. In particular, the Predator. Bill Duke, when he goes after his friend's been killed, and he's going more and more crazy. Losing it more. He's losing it. Mac. Again, each one has a little moments to make them. Not only do each one look different, so it's not that I can't tell them apart. They're more distinct, and they just got that badass persona where you buy them. You buy them as tough guys, tough hombres. And that's what we had back in the day. Not so much today. And look at this. Nice makeup effects here. Of course, Stan Winston did the Predator stuff. I would assume he did this stuff as well. Skinned alive. Hopper the Hopper. He didn't disappear. He was still alive. It's bullshit. All of it. The cabinet ministers. You guys do the dirty work. What happened to you, Dylan? Used to be someone I could trust. I have to do this kind of work. My men are now assassins. Here we get the Hopper. Jim Hopper. There you go. Mac cut him down. I told you, like, as I watch a film, like, this dialogue just pops in my head. Because I've seen this so many times as a kid. Because it's the melding of two of my favorite genres, action and horror. Creature feature. Especially. You know, that's why Aliens is one of my favorite films of all time. That's why this is one of my favorites. Same with Predator 2. I would say as a kid, like a lot of people, I would say Predator was the best. As I've grown, like nowadays, I like Predator 2 more. I love this film, don't get me wrong. Like Predator 1 and 2 are in my like top 10 or so movies of all time. It's just Predator 2 I warmed up to because of its insane fast pacing. But this works for what it needs to do. That's the thing though. But Predator 2, like 5 minutes in, it gets to the action and just doesn't let up. No signs. It's like they just disappeared. So you get an idea that they shot all around them as if they didn't know where to shoot. So more than likely that was the Predator, invisibility, its cloaking device. So they couldn't see it. So they went in to look for these guys, Jim Hopper's group, and the Predator had a good, warm welcome for them. Payback time. Time they take old Painless out of the bag. Now, miniguns, I mean, here we get the first inclination of the Predator, which you don't see for such a long time. You just see this POV here. And originally, the design of the Predator, I don't know how the fuck they even said yes to the design. I don't even understand that. Because you would think the director and all these other people, like, before we go to the fucking jungle, before we go into the heat, let's take a look at this fucking thing. Oh, that's what it looks like? Nah, you gotta change it. No, they said yes, and then they went out there and they got Jean-Claude Van Damme. Yes, the Jean-Claude Van Damme to get in that fucking suit. And I think that is Van Damme when you see that test footage of it all in orange, and it has this thing that, and it like shoots his net out as if it was like a gun it shot. So I guess originally that Predator shot a net. I mean, later on the Predator would shoot a different net that embedded in your stand, but he did like the Predator never shoots a net in this. But that's what it looked like in that test footage. Again, it was all in orange. It's all in orange to try to have that. I guess afterward put that camouflage look on it. I guess. I'll bleed you, leave you here, real quiet. Copy. Dan Carl Weathers being the outsider of the group. But, yeah, it was more like a bug-like creature. It looked fucking awful. It looked terrible. It looked like a wannabe mantis or something. And you could easily see. And then John Van Damme, he probably took the job, and then in the middle of it, it's like, I'm in this suit, it's hot as fuck, what am I doing here? He quit or got fired, depending on who you ask. I said Michelle Queasy, Van Damme's buddy at the time, I think he would say, yeah, he got himself fired. Other people say, well, he quit. Whichever way, he was gone. And they got Kevin Peter Hall. And Stan Winston to design a better, much better looking creature. And of course they had time because the Predator, you don't see him. It's a lot of POV shots and him invisible for the longest time. And they got a much better design. Thanks to Stan Winston. He tells a story about how he was on a plane with James Cameron, and James Cameron said, I always wanted to see them with mandibles. And like, okay, then he added mandibles. I think the guy that shot that guy, I think that's Sven Thorson, Arnold's buddy, who he used in a lot of movies. The security guard, the running man, who at the end tells Richard Dawson, I'd have to go store some steroids. And he leaves Dawson to Arnold's character at the very end. I think he fights Arnold in Red Heat in the snow or something. I think that was Sven Thorson. Like I said, Sven Thorson's in a lot. He also played the mall security guard LaFours in Mallrats. He's been in a lot of stuff. And here is showcasing how they are as a team, how they do this for a living, how they're not just, flash in the pan. They actually know what they're doing. They separate. They recognize these traps. They're able to take these guys out silently one by one, surround the perimeter. That they are a combat unit. They are a rescue team, as Arnold puts it. They know a bit of what they're doing. But yeah, it was the better choice. Kevin Peter Hall played the Predator in Predator 2. He played the Bigfoot Harry in Harry and the Hendersons movie. And he began work on the TV show, but sadly he passed away. And then they had another guy do some bits of that short-lived TV show. And seeing Kevin Peter Hall, people always said he was a very nice guy. So it's sad that he passed away. Would have been great to have him around today. Passed away way too soon. And yeah, this was like one of the big films of the summer of '87. I think about that, 1987, right? It's the same year you get RoboCop, Lethal Weapon, Predator, The Running Man. I mean, think of that, just those four compared to like this year and what films we get. Indiana Jones 5, The Flash, Skinamarink, Megan, Stream 6. It's fucking depressing. Fucking depressing. There you go. What the fuck? I mean, it's not subtle, it's not secretive, but Arnold's pissed and he's like, I'm gonna give you a bang. All done for real, in camera, not holding back. Big explosions. That brief bit where you saw the big explosion in the same frame as Arnold to show that these guys are in, the same vicinity. And that's the thing, you just back to the day we took this stuff for granted because we figured this is how it always would be. Why wouldn't you? Yeah, you blow something up, you blow something up. Not it's all CGI and computer generated and no, you get stunt people, you get real look, there's a real explosion, fireball right behind Jesse Ventura. And yes, of course, a minigun. If you shot that thing in like 5 seconds, he'd be out of bullets. Because that's the big. It's shooting so fast. But yeah, each person get their moment to shine, their body count. This guy getting all the grenade launching in there. Arnold getting his moments, blowing up shit. Yeah, helicopter, you're not going anywhere. You shoot the shit out of the people here, and then you blow them up. And then you get like practical blood squibs. Like, this is how you showcase early on how dangerous and how good this team happens to be. So, to make the Predator even more dangerous, like, he could take this team out? It's like, that's crazy. Shot that guy like 30 times. And just well edited too. Like, it's tightly edited. There's no shot that feels useless or wasted. And here's the old. Now, I don't know what exploded up there, but hey, it works. What do you have? A can of gasoline right next to that him and that post in the tree? Or whatever? There you go. But yeah, again, the music, the editing, even the little bit there where Arnold shoots, you have that dust behind to make it. Same with the sparks there, to make you feel, yeah, the bullets will hit the spark, hit the metal to spark. Of course, Arnold one-liner coming. Stick around. Let's see, all these little details. You gotta get this here. Oh, here. Knock, knock. I think that's Sven Thorson. Right there, they went through the wall. There you go. It shows, yeah, this team could do. This is why this team was hired. This is why this team was brought in. Like I said, that minigun is great, but like I said, I know in reality, in 5 seconds, it would all the bullets would be gone. Like, zzz, and then you're done. Or at least like maybe like 30 seconds. So something big was going down here. Carl Weathers was not on the up and up. Didn't really tell him the details of what is really going on here. And Arnold's gonna realize he's been kind of fucked over. The Alabama tick. You bleed, man. Ain't got time to bleed. Oh yeah? You got time to duck? Again, like little scenes like that give a bit of personality to the characters. Here's Arnold's being pissed. Maybe this is what you're looking for. I already said the lines before. You set this up. It's bullshit, idiot. The cabinet, the ministers, you guys do your dirty work. He didn't disappear. He was still alive. So he cooked up a store and put it in the meat grinder. Sorry, yeah, I'll stop repeating the dialogue. And you could probably, real enough, make the argument that there's more to Carl Weathers' character in this compared to, like, Apollo Creed. At least in the first few Rocky films, where he's a guy who's cocky, boxing, he loses. Then he wants a rematch, he's more antagonistic, he loses. Well, actually, he wins the first time, he loses the second time. Here again, he's a guy that you think you could trust, then you're wondering what's going to happen. And actually, now I think about it, in a typical movie, he probably would have been like the human bad guy, because you have like the human bad guy, and then you have the creature bad guy. I'm actually glad they didn't do that route. I think that was actually for the better. But that does happen from time to time, that they try to go that route of having, again, the human bad guy. I'm surprised they didn't in this. That they didn't have like Carl Weathers be like the guy who, I don't know. There was a lot of rip-offs of these type of movies throughout the years, and they would always put that in. Either a person's like, oh, we can't kill this thing, we can't kill this specimen, we need to, what we can learn from it, all that shit. Here the Predator just observing, recording their dialogue to use it maybe later. Turn around. Turn around. There's the scorpion. Which, I don't know if they used. They might have used the real scorpion. I don't know. Do not know. They might have said on the commentary on whether that was a real scorpion or not. And here's, trying to get him laugh again, but he succeeds here. Jeez, that's a big pussy. Jeez, that's a big pussy. Well, I did it, because you're the echo. And then Sonny Landham, from SonnyLandham.com. That's from the guys from Dead Pit. I remember on their Dead Pit radio, they would, I guess it was an actual Sonny Landham website. And I think they actually did say, welcome to Sonny Landham at SonnyLandham.com. Like, that type of thing. I think he tried to be a governor of, like, Kentucky or something, and he didn't succeed. I guess because he saw, like, Arnold's the governor of California. Joseph Terry became the governor of Minnesota. So, everybody in Predator wanted to be a governor. The governator. And I did not see Arnold's documentary on Netflix. I've heard that he doesn't go in depth into his movies. At least, maybe, I don't know. If he does, it'd probably be like Conan, The Terminator. I would assume this one. But again, assume. But yeah, he's not going to go into The Running Man because he doesn't like The Running Man. I still don't understand why. His reasoning is faulty. He's like, The Running Man looks like a TV show. I'm like, it's supposed to be a TV show because The Running Man is a TV show. So what are you talking about? The Running Man's a classic. I have no idea what the fuck he's talking about. End of Days, I know he's not a fan of. I think he took offense to Peter Hyams at one point had a critique about James Cameron. I guess that rubbed Arnold the wrong way and such, and I don't know. I never really understood why the Predator picks up this scorpion. I guess just for the viewer, for us to see, this creature hand. It's like, oh shit, that's, that is a creature we're dealing with. I mean, you would know that, of course, but I don't know why. I guess he picks up the scorpion just because. I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe because he's fucking bored. Maybe maybe it's a snack. He'll put in his pocket. He'll eat it later. I don't know. But it's still a cool little scene. I guess in a way, it's kind of him showcasing now the hunt will begin. He's been watching this team all this time. He saw what they could do and took all these guys out. It seemed like a worthy foe, a worthy group to hunt. Now it's my turn. So kind of that thing. And they picked a great place to shoot the film because it's some of the better looking jungle that I've seen in a movie. Because a lot of times they feel a bit, fake and phony, or it feels like a set. But this really truly does look like the jungle. It feels like they're trapped in the jungle, and there is nowhere to fucking go. I forget exactly where they shot it at. I should have looked at the special features. Which, if you want in this 4K set, which, I mean, this is a flip cover. Well, actually, no. This is the actual cover of it. But inside was this. I actually prefer that cover. So this was actually part of the set. Part of like the 4K set. You had pictures like this. So I took the thing and I put this on the front. Come on, you should have that cover. Just looks so much better. This has the Blu-ray, I believe it's from the Hunter's Edition, whatever it's called, the DNR shit. But it has the special features. So, it said, well, we'll have the Blu-ray because it has the special features. And then this will have all the great picture quality. So... commentary by director John McTiernan. If it bleeds, would you kill the making a Predator? Which I don't think there's any new interviews with Arnold, which is a shame, but there's new interviews with Carl Weathers, Bill Duke, McTiernan, among others. The fact there wasn't like a full-blown, like, major documentary, which I don't know if that would ever be a case for this franchise, to just do a full documentary on all the films. The only reason I would want to see that is if you get Danny Glover to talk about Predator 2. Then make that documentary. I wish someone would, like, sit down and talk with Danny Glover on Predator 2. Like an interview, like a long, in-depth interview, man. Here, Billy. Sonny Landham. What's got Billy spooked? I don't know, he's been acting weird all day. Because he knows something's out there and something doesn't feel right and it's something that he hasn't really felt or seen before. So he knows something is up. Like, incredibly bullshit happening here. Something really bad is going to happen here, or is coming sooner for them. Now, Arnold nowadays, I think sadly he did it to himself, which I don't know if they go into this in that documentary, but you had this guy who was not from America that came over, was only looked at as a bodybuilder, and yet because of a bit of business sense, a bit of charisma, I mean, despite you want to say he's got the it factor of a star, sense of humor, he was able to become a star. You know, bodybuilding to Conan, Terminator, Predator, all these movies. And the guy also knew, and sadly, I wish Stallone kind of realized this, to work with the right directors and to not be so control freak of the script. Now, I'm not saying Arnold never had any control. He would make choices, but at the same time, he would let people try to do their jobs. Stallone, as much as I love Stallone, a lot of times he'd be like, I gotta go rewrite the script, and a lot of people don't like that. It rubs people the wrong way. But Arnold picked the right directors. He picked, hey, James Cameron. I want to work with this guy. I see something in him in the script. Of course, James Cameron going to be one of the biggest directors ever. Oh, hey, John McTiernan, who a year after this would be in Die Hard, would do Die Hard, would direct Die Hard. Paul Verhoeven, hey, this guy did RoboCop. Let me do this film, Total Recall. Hey, Ivan Reitman, this guy did Ghostbusters. Let me do Twins, Kindergarten Cop. So this guy would recognize these talented directors and go, I want to work with them because these seems like guys I could trust. And that's one of the reasons why Arnold was more successful than Stallone. Now, Stallone's my favorite. The Rambo films, the first four, some of my favorite films ever. Over the Top, Cobra, Cliffhanger, Demolition Man. Stallone's my favorite action guy. But other than Rocky and Rambo, and even then it was some of them, still his films were not really successful other than those. Arnold's were. Even in the, there we go. There goes Shane Black. That's what you get for making The Predator. Having fucking superhero kid autism be a superhero power, and Thomas Jane being a fucking fuck me with an aardvark, saying lines like that. That's what you did, Shane Black. That's what you did. I think the Predator knew this ahead of time. He knew, this is what you don't do to me, you're the first to go. I think the Predator maybe was psychic. He's like, motherfucker, you know what you don't do to me? You don't have you don't make a film where one of my brethren, one of my predators, picks up a fucking arm that has a thumbs up and puts it through. Hey, thumbs up. Oh, okay. And they're so fucking stupid, you're the first to die now. Yeah, nothing left but blood, and it looks like guts, but I couldn't tell. I mean, we see him upside down. It's not like guts aren't splaying out, but it looked like guts there. But I guess it's just supposed to be a lot more blood and equipment. That's never something you want to hear. I can't tell. That's like the worst thing to hear. Did you find Hawkins? I can't tell. What happened to his body? But I was saying with Arnold, he was very successful. He knew what the business was like, and he knew who he was. I think Stallone, he's one of those guys that I think he's a good actor. Again, he's made a lot of films I love. But Cobra disappointed at the box office. Did Lockup flopped. Over the Top flopped. I love those films, but they flopped. And I think Arnold kind of knew what audiences wanted from him. He knew what audiences were expecting from him. So he would delve more into those avenues, and that made him more successful to the public than Stallone. I think Stallone, in the back of his head, always still thought of himself as an actor. You know, when Rocky came out, he was getting accolades that he was the next Marlon Brando or something, Robert De Niro. But then afterward, they kind of simmered down and he was the action guy, and he didn't just want to be the action guy. He kind of ran away from that. It wasn't until kind of later on they kind of started to accept that more and more. I remember there was that time in the 90s where he's like, I'm not going to do action films anymore. I'm not going to do action films anymore. Well, that was a flat out lie. I did. See, at least Stallone was always trying to run away from that. I know Sly, they're doing a Netflix documentary on him as well. It's supposed to come out later this year. I don't know, maybe, I mean, unless it's a paid request, maybe I'll watch the documentaries together when Sly's come out. And I'll watch Arnold and Sly back to back. But I still, I mean, the fact that, to me, in those type of documentaries, I would rather them go as in depth as possible. Like Arnold, talk about the movies you don't like. Tell us why you don't like about them. Tell us about making the films. Have a section where you talk about each of your films, what got you into it, any stories behind the scenes, any troubles, any tribulations. Because if you don't tell the story, who will tell the story? But yeah, Arnold. This is where we see Shane Black. I like this reveal too, because we see the blood on the leaves, so the audience is like, oh shit. If you couldn't tell what that was, those blood on the leaves tell you tremendously what it is. Also shows you like this kind of this bloody branch is like this is where the predator was dragging this body up. And there you go. Nasty reveal. And they got Jesse Ventura in his MTV shirt, and he's the next to go. Which is too bad. I wish he was in the film longer, but I mean, I guess had character was going to die sooner or later. I guess for the Predator, it makes sense. Take out the guy with the big gun. You know, who am I going to take out next? This guy has this massive gun. Not sure. Remember, was that spray of blood that hit him in the neck? What is that supposed to be? That spray of blood that hit him on the neck before the Predator shot. Did the Predator just throw blood at him? Like, what did the Predator do? Like, what was that spray of blood that hit the side of his neck? Like, the side of Jesse Ventura's neck. I don't know. I never really understood what that was supposed to be. Again, the minigun. Like I said, the minigun in 30 seconds would be out of bullets, but you just go along with it. And this is how good the movie is. These guys are just shooting into the fucking jungle for like a full minute or two, and it's still an exciting scene because you buy what's going on, and like to me, like what a waste of fucking ammo. You almost wanted to say like Bill Burr in Ghostbusters, whoa, 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 nice shooting, Tex. Like I'm not seeing anybody. Let's stop shooting, stop wasting the bullets. But yeah, I mean, with the way it's edited, it's just the way it's tightly edited, and I'm trying to see who. I can't remember who edited the film. Damn it. It said at the beginning of the film, I'm sure, but I've had to look up who edited this movie. But yeah, what I was getting at. God, what was I going to say? Oh, Arnold. You know, he had this rise to fame, and then Terminator, Total Recall, Terminator 2, felt like he was the king of the world, and then it kind of changed, Sally, with Last Action Hero. I enjoy the film, but that film was so hyped that there was no way it could. I think people were used to Arnold and Total. Think about Total Recall, Terminator 2. Last Edge Hero is a world of difference. Maybe at that time people were like, I don't want to see Arnold and dealing with this little kid, and it's a kid, more kid friendly than those other two movies. But I think Last Edge Hero is great. I think it's an underrated film, but it got swallowed up by Jurassic Park, and he found success with True Lies, '94, and that was kind of the last big success for Arnold. Kind of to this day. I mean, he would do a couple more films in the '90s where Eraser did okay business. It's just they had a big budget. That's a film I'd like to hear more stories about. Like, I've heard that there was. Uh, I've heard that there was reshoots or there was additional photography and they had those shoot scenes over and over again. Like, what happened around that to make that budget balloon to like $100 million film? Because it doesn't look. I like Eraser. I think it's really good. I don't think it looks like $100 million movie, but we get the Predator blood. Looks like stuff Dr. Herbert West would use in Reanimator. So they did hit something. If it bleeds, we can kill it. But yeah, the around that '90s, yeah, I think in that mid to late '90s, action films were changing. These action stars and other stars were getting these millions and millions of dollars, $20 million paychecks, and the studios realized that their movies were not really making what the paychecks were justifying. So audiences either they got tired of it or they saw something new, a new fad, a new regime of tentpole movies. Wow, Independence Day, they blowing up cities and blowing up the White House and Twister, tornadoes, all these special effects, and Jurassic Park helped start that. Like, wow, this new world of technology and CGI and spectacle. Now people are more interested in the spectacle movies. Now a guy running around shooting people or running around with guns seemed an old forte. Now it's like, what spectacle did you give the audience? And the studios went more in that direction. And then they realized actually we could get actors that they view, like, to me, Arnold, I think at this point wasn't a bad actor. I don't think he's a bad actor here. I think he's doing what he's supposed to and he does a really good job. But to directors, not direct, but to a lot of the studio heads, they're like, we want real actors, Tom Cruise or Kevin Costner or other people. We want these guys to be the star of these films. Later on, Matt Damon. We don't need heroes that are bodybuilders and muscle bound. We could get a Keanu Reeves to do a film like Speed, and look how successful that is. And studios look at it, they like, look, hey, Speed, that was because of the concept and the spectacle. And that was a low budget film, and look how much money it made. It was able to stand toe to toe against films like True Lies that had so much budget. They looked at, well, Speed cost this much and True Lies cost this much, but they both made a ton of money. They're more impressed with Speed than True Lies because Speed cost so little. And this is always cool to see the little toys to show that the Predator, has his gadgets, has his medical kit. It's like, without giving us exposition, we're still learning more about the Predator, what it can and can't do, and that it does have a certain life to it in a weird way. It makes it more alive that It can get hurt. It can patch itself up. It knows how to do this. Obviously has its medical kit. It's done stuff like this before and ready for this. It's not just a faceless, one-dimensional thing, if that makes sense. But yeah, the more spectacle event films are what kind of push films like these out of the market. I think about with Stallone, one of his biggest hits of the 90s was Cliffhanger, which was an action movie, but it was a big event movie with the mountains and the stunt work and the helicopter. Like, people wanted to see that. So, by the time you get to the late 90s, Stallone and Arnold, their films were not doing well. Stallone, films like Judge Dredd, Daylight, they bombed. Arnold, I mean, he was having films like, he was in Batman and Robin, he was in End of Days, which I love. End of Days is one of my top 5 favorite Arnold films, but that was a complete bomb. I saw it in the theater, but yeah, great experience, but sadly that bombed. And then you get into 2000s, Stallone was doing a couple films like Driven, and then going straight to video, which would be unheard of, you would think. You get films like Avenging Angelo. And what was the other fuck? There was another fucking movie I can't think of. Shade. Arnold. Yeah, he had Collateral Damage, which I think is a good film, but that I've heard that originally that was going to be shelved because of 9/11. They were going to, it was going to get like the Batgirl treatment. When not going to show it, it'll be a tax write-off. But like, fine, you know, well, it's an Arnold film. We'll release it anyway, and then so yeah. Apparently, there's some on YouTube, some former Warner executive guy that was doing an interview, and he said, yeah, at one point, Cloud Damage was going to be shelved. And then you guys are, well, it's not a good movie. I'm like, it is a good movie. There's nothing that bad about the movie. It could use a bit more action, but I still think it's a good film. Now it wants us. There's Arnold understanding the situation ahead of the other guys. This is a nice moment for Bill Duke. A little bit nice emotional moment. I like the music too. Same with when he put the canteen on Jesse Ventura's body, and nice sort of a little bit of that patriotic feel. Do do new new. Very more of a sad, solemn musical motif. I just not patriotic, but just more as sad as it's supposed to be. That was also used in Predator 2 when Danny Glover visits his partner's gravesite. So it makes you wonder if the Predator actually, if he led this boar to here and did this on purpose as part of his plan to steal the body, or if he was watching and this happened, it's like, oh, they're busy, let me go over here and get this shit. So yeah, it makes me wonder if the Predator, again, if he made this plan to get this boar into his camp and have them get the fuck away from it, from the body, from the take, Jesse Ventura's body. You killed the pig. And Sonny Landham laughing back there. But to finish my thought, the reason I was saying like for Arnold, kind of the rise and fall, his films were not doing well. Terminator 3 came out. He said, this is the last film I'm doing because he's going to go to be a governor. Terminator 3, I guess, maybe did okay at box office, I guess. And then, after the Governor California stuff rubbed people the wrong way, a lot of people said he was a shitty governor. They did a bad job. I think that rubbed people the wrong way. And then he was away for so long that a new generation of film goers came about. And then when he came back for The Last Stand, I thought it was a fun film, but no one cared, and it did nothing. I would say The Last Stand was the last good Arnold film, and that was 10 years ago now. That was 2013, I believe. I believe it was. These were Arnold's realizing he's using the trees. And then with all this stuff going on in his personal life, his, cheating on his wife with the maid, having a kid with the maid, and then bullshit nowadays where it's like, screw your freedom. I guess if you don't take the shot, they say screw your freedom. It just, I think a lot of people just, understandably so, lost interest and lost care for Arnold. I mean, you could argue they lost care for a lot of action heroes because, like, Rambo 5 did make much money. Like, all these other films aren't making much money. It's a bullshit sight job. Fucking lizard. Anna, this thing's hunting us. All of us. A strong female, a strong woman, but apparently we never had these in the 80s and 90s. This is what I was told. She doesn't act like a damsel in distress. She has knowledge pertaining to what they need to know. You tell that Anna has a lot more respect for Arnold than Carl Weathers' character. If it bleeds, we could kill it. I always thought that was the best line in the movie. I mean, they always say, get to the chopper. But to me, if it bleeds, we could kill it was always the best line in the movie for me. Yeah, if I had a favorite line from the film, it would be that. So now they're going to be on the offensive. They're going to try to be the hunters. And it works for a few seconds, but sadly the predator shoots itself out and they split up and doesn't try to work out. I do love Carl Weathers' little salute he gives at the end here. And you can tell that this is a movie that they always got into the weight room and really pump up before the cameras since they know it'll be showing their muscles here. Shirtless. Be a man. Cue the Mulan song. But yeah, all that stuff with Arnold, with the idea having cheating on his wife, having a baby with the maid, the screw your freedom, stupid things he's saying. It's hard to respect Arnold nowadays. It's like, I respect the guy he used to be, but getting into politics was the worst thing he did. That was his downfall, was getting into politics. And I don't know, again, I don't know what that documentary says or doesn't say. If he doesn't admit that, then he's not as smart as I think he is. I'll put it that way. But yeah, politics was the worst thing he could have done. And Stallone, I mean, despite the fact that I've heard stories that, he could be a dick from time to time on certain movie sets and stuff. I've heard good things as well. I don't know. I still like Stallone, but Stallone, it feels like the public respects Stallone more than Arnold nowadays. If that makes sense. I always thought that was an interesting bit that, he's cutting so much that it breaks the razor. I mean, it doesn't really do anything for the story, but it's a nice little character thing where I guess another thing of showcasing that Bill Duke's character is losing it. Like ever since his friend died, it's him being dazed, and even this here, like earlier, he could shave and be perfectly fine. Here, another example of him losing it. He's losing it, and at the end, he does lose it. He runs off by himself, and Sally, gets himself killed. Arnold's like, "What the fuck you talking about, lady? What are you doing?" What are we trying next? Cheese. And that's the thing about I do love this film, and again, it's one of my favorite films. Predator 2, I will say, is my favorite of the franchise. I really do feel that way. It's one of those things that as I watch it, it's just such a fast pace that just it grabs you, it doesn't let go, and it just anytime I watch it hooks me, hook, line, and sinker. And I just have a lot of fun with it. It just the crazy pacing and stuff that happens with the whole Danny Glover Predator fight, all the stuff with Gary Busey and his team. Never thought that sequel was as bad as people made out to be. It was just dumbfounding that people hate that movie so much. Just dumbfounding to me. Okay. If the predator wants bait, I'll be the bait. Okay, I'm here. Come and get me. And boom. Now I don't know why they didn't unleash on weapons at that, but it was almost as if, oh my god, it actually worked. But now it's too late. But now Carl Weathers sees what Bill Dude was talking about. But sadly, Bill Dude just lost it. Mac. Mac! It's not your style, Dylan. Maybe want to get even too. Kind of this little moment here is kind of them last time being friends. Kind of like they've been set, they were, you could tell they were great friends at the beginning of it. They've been split apart, and now this little moment's like, give him that gun. You didn't have to say anything, just like, hey, good luck, man. That type of thing. And then when he hears his death cries, or that little look of, there's no time to cry, there's no time to stop and cry about it, but we have to keep going. But that sort of, like, damn. See, Bill Dude's just losing it. Go have me some fun. Go have me some fun. And sadly, these guys aren't going to make it. Now, of course, this little bit here where you think it's the Predator saying this. But yeah, that's the thing about, like I said, Arnold's career is that sadly he did it to himself. I mean, he was the top of the world at box office and stuff, and didn't because the times were changing, tastes of audience members were changing. Films of his weren't in style anymore, and then again, like I said, going to politics was the worst decision he ever made. The worst decision. So maybe that Carl Weathers character, this is maybe his hopeful sense of redemption for the previous team that was killed, for these getting these guys into it. And of course, as Arnold said at the beginning, you never knew when to quit. And sadly, they did killed for it. Sadly, but yeah, Predator 2 to me was such a great worthy sequel that I never understood the hate that film got. I will never understand it. It has a fantastic cast, has even a faster pacing than this one, and it feels like its own film with the city, urban jungle, which Arnold hated for some reason. I do not like it takes place in the city. What, take place in a jungle again, Arnold? Predators, I mean, it was an alien jungle, but it was still looked like a fucking jungle, and it looked cheaper than this film. Don't do that. If I saw that, I would not go towards it. I don't know what did you think this was. I don't know why he would go towards this. And got the that's pretty damn violent. It's pretty damn gory. The back of his head exploding like that. I'm actually surprised that the MPA let that get through, since they were such sticklers with the ratings and gore. The fact that you just have literally the back of the head blowing up to the towards the camera. Again, I'm glad, but I'm just surprised the MPA let that go, because I mean, you look at Friday the 13th films and how little blood they were getting at this point now. The MPA seemed a lot more harsher in terms of cutting down violence, which is insanely not ironic, but it's pretty funny that, nowadays you never hear the MPA doing anything. Like, other than maybe that film, The House That Jack Built, what was the last time you heard the MPA get involved with anything? Exactly. Like, you never hear them. Oh, you never hear any battles with the MPA, nothing of that. Just crazy. Now Carl Weathers is there all alone. What's Gets his arm blown off in a minute, in a second or two. Yep, there it is right there. Sort of Dylan's last stand. Ooh. Getting good makeup effects of the arm. I like the also little detail that it's still pulling the trigger even while it's hanging there. Even though the fucking arm is not there anymore. He goes down fighting, but Sally's not enough. That is where Arnold realizes what happened. And Billy is going to stay behind. Now, granted, I mean, we never see the fight. I think most people would say it's fine that we never saw the fight, but it must not have been a fight because as soon as the prayer's in front of him, like 3 seconds later, you hear his blood curdling scream. So the fight must not have lasted that long. So, in a way, it kind of makes him look like a doofus, an idiot. But, you know, it is what it is. Says like, hey, paint this machete and then draw it on your stomach to make it look like you cut yourself. And that's the thing, is that this becomes kind of a pointless death because it didn't really help the main characters. You had a gun, you could have helped them here when this guy got killed. And it must not have been that long of a fight because it was like 5 seconds. Ooh. Which I'm surprised it wasn't a bigger split. Now, I always had this mistake. I always. Here he shoots the gun. Boom. I don't know why, for ever since I was a kid, I always thought, oh, he shot him in the arm. Because for me being stupid, I'm like, oh, well, at the beginning of the film, you have Carl and Arnold's arms. And you see that Arnold's so much stronger. So now it gets to Carl Weathers' arm gets cut off, but Arnold's doesn't get cut off because he has so much muscle. But no, it hits the gun, and then the gun shrapnel hurts Arnold's arm. I don't know why he. For some reason, as a kid, for a while to my teen. Actually, till like a couple years ago, I still thought, oh, he hit Arnold's arm, but again, Arnold's so much more muscular compared to Carl, so that's why Carl's arm got shot off. But because I just figured, well, just like he shot Carl Weathers' arm, he's going to try to shoot Arnold's arm, not the gun. So as I thought, like, why did he shoot the gun? But then why? Yeah, that shot when he's falling. Every time that shot is always this like dull focus. I don't know, that long shot of Arnold falling into the water. It's always like the worst looking shot because it's always like grainier and much more. Like this shot's fine, but the old other one is like something about like unfocused. It looks like footage from 1973 or something. That one shot is always that one shot. Ever since I saw him VHS, I'm like, that shot looks different from the others. But because I thought like the Predator's like, oh yeah, the Predator. Why would he shoot the gun? He didn't shoot Carl Weathers' gun. He shot his arm, so he would try to shoot Arnold's arm, and shoot his arm off. But Arnold overpowered Carl Weathers, showing he's stronger. But this once again shows Carl Weathers got his arm shot off, but Arnold no. Again, I know it's a stupid idea, but I can see now. Yes, he shot the gun, not his arm. So now we're going to get to the final bit of the movie where it's going to be the one-on-one with Arnold and the Predator. Now, of course, this bit of luck that how lucky can Arnold's character be that he just happens to be covered with mud so much that the Predator can't see any part of his body? Which doesn't even work because you see here, there's a big portion of his face not covered with mud. Like, you look at that. The right side of his face is not covered with mud. But then here, now it is covered in mud. That's a pretty bad continuity mistake. Like, think about it. This half is not covered in mud. Then he gets there, now it is covered. Like, what'd he do? He's fumbling, and he's like, he just put all this mud accidentally on his face. I didn't look. I'm not trying to be a dick. Just look. Like half this face, there's no mud. Now there's mud. I'm like, what? The fuck? But it did that because the predator would have seen his skin. But again, maybe the earlier shot have him like slip or something. I don't know. But again, it's a pretty big continuity mistake. But it is what it is. No film is perfect. It's still a damn classic movie. But I mean, if it was a much lesser film, I would make fun of that. So I gotta mention it here as well. And that's where he realizes that he could see that rat, but he couldn't see me, and the mud must be the reason. Which that was another thing I'm glad Predator 2 did not do. It didn't do the fucking thing with the mud again, because it did the mud thing in Predators with Adrian Brody. And Predators was like a backdoor remake of this film. You had the team, you even had the "come on, kill me, do it now" at the end of the film. I'm like, how much you don't rip off Predator, man? Long Tall Sally. But Robert Rodriguez and this stuff want to talk shit about Predator 2. This is the real sequel. And then sadly, The Predator is worse. Again, little kids who are autistic and have autism as a superpower, super spectrum, whatever the fuck it was about, and Thomas Jane saying "fuck me" with an aardvark, and a bad guy accidentally shooting himself in the fucking head with the predator laser thing that now it doesn't guide itself, it's just automated. You would think he would guide it like he would use the helmet to guide the thing. Kind of like the point of like what Clint Eastwood film Firefox, that he's supposed to use this helmet to guide the weapon system and stuff, but no. Apparently it's automated, whatever. And we got the Last Stand with Arn. Well, not the movie, but here's part of his trap. Going back to basics. You know, none of the gun weaponry. As the trailer says, it picked the wrong man to hunt. Exactly. I wish Sylvester Stallone had done a film like this. Hunter could have been a great example of that, but no. Instead, let's do Rambo 5. Instead, let's do... I don't even know what he's doing nowadays. That reality show with his daughters. Films like Bat Trace and stuff. Like, what the... Cliffhanger 2? Really, Stallone? You want to do Cliffhanger 2? There's a... I think when I first saw it as a kid, for a split second, I thought that was Anna, the girl. But it's like, no, that's Sonny Landham. I thought, oh my god, he got the girl. But no, it's Sonny Landham, of course. Pretty gory and graphic. That's why I think you can label this a horror film as well, because this stuff is pretty gory that a lot of other so-called horror films are. Granted, just because it's gory doesn't mean it's horror, but I think those are horrific aspects. Getting your spine ripped out and skinned alive and shit. I like these transitions of the tree, like you pass over the tree and you see all the different transitions of him getting ready, making his bow. Nice. Going back to primal status. Is that okay, Stallone? Okay, Sly. I'm gonna make my own version of C4 tipped explosive arrows. Make my own explosives. I think one of them he attaches to the arrow, I believe. I like the little detail that one of them has the hole in its skull, so that's Bill Duke, obviously. I don't know who this is supposed to be, this skull. I don't know if it's supposed to be Sonny Landham or Carl Weathers. Now, he has no mirror, so I don't know if he's able to look to see, to make sure that he got every spot, I guess. Just the way he's doing it, it's like he's looking in the mirrors. Like, I gotta get this spot, I gotta get this spot, but. And there's still like bits on his lips and nose and around his eyes that the predator could see, technically, so. You're not done yet, Arnold. There you go. He's like, fuck it, I'll let the makeup person do the rest. There's this primal roar, the challenge to the battle, challenge to the fight. I challenge you, motherfucker. You'll terminate a motherfucker. Great score by Alan Silvestri, by the way, once again. Look at my great teeth. Come on, motherfucker! And Pearl's like, okay. Okay, bitch. I'm coming for you. I mean, in this time period, Arnold knew his audience. It's just sad that he lost that. I think he didn't sadly get into politics and all the other shit going on. And I'm like, Arnold, why we don't listen to you? You cheated on your wife with a maid and had a kid with her. You have no room to lecture people anymore. I'm sorry, you don't. Screw your freedom. No, screw you, Arnold. I think you have no room to lecture people because I'm not cheating on my wife and getting the fucking maid pregnant. You have no room to talk, dude. You have no room to talk. I think a lot of people kind of felt that way too. But you look at Stallone on the other hand. Later on, he had the better career where he had the Expendables, Rocky Balboa, Rambo 4, the Expendables, which became a franchise. Creed 1 and 2, one of them he would have an Oscar nomination for. He was in a Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so a Marvel film, which was successful. Small part, but he was still in it. Man, how crazy is that? I have a predator like right behind you. Like shit. Yeah, I need to get the fuck out of here. And this is a great battle. I remember as a kid just enjoying the hell out of this again and again and again. When I rewatch on that again CBS Fox video, I could picture the box literally. There was so much white on it because it was used so much and crinkled up so much that you would see the white of the paper underneath. Like, watch it again, watch it again. Cool stuff like this, wounding the predator, this back and forth battle, back to basics. You were invisible to me, now I'm going to be invisible to you, motherfucker. See how you like it. I look at like all these real sparks and all this real shit going on that if you don't know what you're doing, it's definitely a big sense of danger. but all done for real in camera. Layla is a real person. You have all these little explosions and firework type of stuff, sparks. The idea, if you don't know what you're doing, you could be a real danger, but you gotta know what you're doing. You gotta have people who are prepared, who are trained, who know what they're doing. And you cannot get more real than real, as in camera. It's not that I despise CGI. It has been used well in certain movies and formats, but it's overused, and not everything needs to be that way. You look at a film like this, and to me it still holds up, and nothing to me feels dated. Nothing does feel dated to me. The Predator still looks great. It's still a great looking effect. And Tim Peter Hall knew how to play the Predator. After Tim Peter Hall died, it felt like nobody knew how to play the Predator anymore. Because Tim Peter Hall in Predator 1 and 2, he knew how to play him, he knew how to move around and really act with the suit. At Predator 2, that Predator felt different from the first Predator. And Tim Peter Hall knew how to do it in those two movies. Afterward, it never felt that way. Either they weren't given the opportunity to give much of a performance, or it's just a guy just kind of going through the motions, or they look bulky and big and fat like Alien vs. Predator. Whereas that's another, I mean, don't get me started on that movie. There you go, Shawn. Maybe that'll be a request in the future. Alien vs. Predator. I would do it. It'd be a rant, but I would do it. Be ranting on the film. Because that's a pile of shit, Alien vs. Predator. But the idea I was thinking about, like 1987, even you just take Lethal Weapon, RoboCop, Predator, those three films. There's a lot of good films in that year, but those three films became classics, created their own franchises. What do we have today? What new films are coming out that, whoop, it was so good and instant classic and go create its own franchise? What? Instead, we get The Flash and Indiana Jones 5 and all this other bullshit. You got him. Bleed, you bastard. I think he says in a bit when he fouls him. But now the Predator's playing a trick on him. Yeah, bleed, you bastard. Foul Dr. Herbert West formula. Hey, look, it does look like the stuff in Reanimator. Maybe this is where Dr. Herbert West got it. He got it from a Predator. That's the secret formula. There you go. That's a Predator Reanimator crossover. He found a dead Predator, looked at this blood. He realized this blood could reanimate the dead. I'd buy it. I'd buy that for $1. And of course, this is the inclination of something's behind him, this drip. Which I like that reveal there. It's like, oh shit. But he's got a little bit of his own, his little explosive thing here. There you go, fucker. This is a great stunt. Boom, hit right into the water. Great hit. The timing is like as soon as you get on the stick, blow it up so you fall into the water. You get up, oh shit. That's some timing. Like make sure you time it right, not too early, because if you time it too early, he'll miss it. If you time it too late, he's going to land all fucked up. Or he's going to blast. Don't blast it too near him, or you'll hurt him. It's kind of like. Ooh, there you go. Now the Predator. You kind of got he's more pissed now. But, I was going to say. Oh, like in Big Trouble in Little China, at the end of the film, if you watch when they're escaping the facility and they find Jack Burton's truck. There's a bit that he's holding the door and he lets go to run. If you watch the film, he's running. As Kurosawa's running, there's a squib that hits way too close for comfort, and literally Kurosawa has to do this to block the sparks. That's because he was supposed to go this way and then it hits. But as he got right near it, boom, it hit almost in his face. And I think, as Kurosawa says, John Carpenter was not a happy guy. And I think Kurosawa said, I don't want to be that guy when John finds him. I mean, that stuff can be dangerous. Look what happened Twilight Zone the movie. Or even that film Rust. Al Baldwin. Which, I mean, I forgot that Al Baldwin was the producer of that, so he helped hire that fucking lady and said yes to shit, so it is his fault as well. We got the reveal of the creature here. As Danny Glover would say, okay, pussy face, your move. Or here, you want ugly motherfucker. That might be my favorite line. Actually, that might be my favorite line. You want ugly motherfucker. Yeah, that's my favorite line in the movie. If it bleeds, we could tell it is up there as well. And kudos to Arnold for being like, okay, yeah, I'm going to allow myself to get my ass kicked. Because you think Steven Seagal would allow this? No. But Arnold's like, okay, my strength is not going to do anything. So I'm going to look weak and I'm going to look as this thing's just no match for it hand to hand. And just getting his ass kicked. And all he can do is get to his plan, get to his trap, and outwit the thing. Which is funny, and then you have Adrian Brody, who is able to outpower the Predator, or the Super Predator. Granted, with a little help from the lady, but he's able to... And he has a weapon, to be fair. Arnold doesn't have a weapon. Just his wits. But that was what's great about Predator 2, is that, you know, it's a different type of fight. In fact, I would say it's an even more elaborate fight, where it's in the meat locker place, where he shotguns the Predator, and then you get to the rooftop, and they go over the roof, and then he cuts the Predator's arm off, but the Predator catches it. Then you have this one-on-one fight with weaponry. As much as I like the fight in this one, my favorite is the fight in Predator 2 between Danny Glover and the Predator. To me, it's a kick-ass fight. But this one is good as well. Kill me, I'm here, kill me. And this is where he outwits it. I gotta make it obvious. I gotta make him notice this stuff. There you go. Now that you noticed it, I'm going to go even more into this. Kill me, do it now, come on. Stan Winston did a wonderful job on this creature suit. Just looks great. Bit of acting from Major Dutch Schaefer. Remember what I did before? Remember I told you lost? I was telling the truth. Here you go. Goodbye. Sucker. You motherfucker. Down goes the dynamite. You ugly motherfucker. I hate this little lens flare thing. That always annoyed me. I mean, I guess because of the fight, but I just hate that lens flare thing. That always... Because a lens flare reminds you that you're watching a movie. Because in real life, like, I'm not looking around looking at fucking lens flares everywhere, unless I have to purposely do it. But, that's a lens flare. And it's like, I wish they could have repositioned it so that lens flare was taken out or something. Like, reposition Arnold or whatever the hell. The hell are you? All the little details. I like the fact it has this type of green blood. This little code that won't try to kill you if you're unarmed. This self-destructive thing, so it doesn't want his body or his weaponry to fall into anybody's hands. Or whatever the hell. Or it's like, you know what, you kill me, I'm gonna take you with me. So maybe it's like just being a dick move. And of course, the Sonny Landham laugh. And this just shows just how big of a fucking explosion this is. I love the way this looks. Like, he's pretty damn far away, and he's still not far enough. Look, I love this shot when he jumps. It's like, god damn. Mr. Mustache Guy, be careful. Now, the other pilot is actually Kevin Peter Hall, the guy who's in the Predator suit. That right there, that guy, that's Kevin Peter Hall with the glasses. I just say, figure, hey, you know what, he's in the suit, he's a really nice guy, give him a moment where we see his face. I mean, aside for the sunglasses, but let's see his face, so, yeah, that was the Kevin Peter Hall. He was like, what the fuck? Not the guy with the mustache, but the other pilot. I love this music too. It kind of like a hell of a day. But it makes sense why, I mean, this reaction, his comrades are dead, his friends are dead, he's been beaten up, he's dirty, he's bloody, he's muddy, he's tired. He's the last man standing. That's a nice shot there with him next to the, and all the dust and shit around. And this shot here, we just see just how beaten he is. Compared to how he was in the helicopter early with all his friends and comrades, and now, again, his friends are dead, all that stuff. And that great dun 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 dun. Down, down, no, no, no. Again, Predator picked the wrong guy to hunt. Should have listened to the trailer. You would be live, motherfucker. I do wonder what was the idea of having this kind of smiling, like everyone's smiling. Like the only one who doesn't is Arnold. I guess, just to have a bit of a fun roll call. I mean, it works. It's fun. I just wonder what was the idea behind it. Yeah, most of us are dead, but... And Arnold's like, I'm not going to do that shit. You gotta have a bit from the movie. I mean, I ain't going to do that smiling shit. If you want me, you gotta have a bit from the movie. R.G. Armstrong is the general at the end there with Anna. And Kevin Peter Hall is the Predator. Rest in peace. But yeah, Predator is still an absolute classic. Great setting, action, cast, score, creature. All the elements to make a kick-ass action horror movie. Creature feature film. The only nitpicks is once in a while there's a little bit of continuity mistake. Or a little bit here and there, but other than that, like little like lens flare here and there, like I mentioned near the end. But at least like the tiniest of nitpicks. Still one of my top 10 favorite films. Like I said, I could watch this anytime and never get bored with it. Same with Aliens and Predator 2 and all that stuff. So, classic. Thanks for watching. Take care, and we will see you guys later. Bye bye.